And we're alive. Back here in the Bloss backyard at Bloss na HÉireann. And it's an absolute pleasure to be here with our two central people. Sorry for the slight delay now, but, you guys had to pick up a considerable amount of awards. So this is a good thing, so I don't think we need to apologise for any delay. But it's brilliant to be here, and to be here at Bloss with people who are coming in the door piled high with different awards for different products. So and also, being shortlisted at Bloss is always really special as well, because you get to hang out with all the best people. Here we are. And you get to come and you get to hang out in the Bloss backyard, grab a cup of coffee and be here and talk to your friends and your colleagues and people that you might have only seen in passing in the past, and you get to be able to enjoy these kind of events. So this is all good. So this is the last event of the day. So I think Vivienne is positively giddy at this stage because she's got the end in sight. And she's been here since 8 a.m. this morning. So as you can appreciate, it's been a long day. So this is PR Toolkit, Mastering Media Relations. We're going to talk about building an effective PR strategy. And I have an amazing panel. So Vivienne Gleeson you all will be familiar with Vivienne from buzzing around here, a business mentor and PR consultant. She works with clients in the food, hospitality, tourism, heritage and charity sectors. And you all know from meeting her here that she's passionate about working with small food businesses, and you'll hear a lot about exactly what she does with them, and the mentoring is a huge part of that. Daniel and Georgia from Bon Chocolatiers, and they're based in Athlone. They started Bon Chocolatiers during lockdown in 2020, and one of the highlights of lockdown for me was seeing your beautiful chocolates arriving on the doormat. And you've only been going from strength to strength ever since, because you met at college when you were training to be chefs, but you took your experience of working in fine dining and you brought it and condensed it down into very, very small, very beautiful bonbons. So they're absolutely gorgeous, and obviously the judges agreed with me. And then we have Anna and Orla Snook O'Connell from the Valentia Island, who are the creators of Ireland's first Irish-made vermouth. The couple met at art school in Bristol and then moved into Valentia Island in 2018. And then you're bringing, I love this, that you're taking vermouth, you're getting the Spanish white wine, bringing it over to Valentia. You've gone and foraged all over the island to get your different flavours, and you produce this incredible award-winning vermouth, which is multi-award winning at this stage. So we've got incredible products here on stage, ladies and gentlemen, and we also have a PR professional who knows how to sell these products. But so it's just a little bit to start off, if you could tell me a little bit about yourself, Vivienne, and how working with small food producers is so important for you.
Yeah, and thanks for that, Caroline. Excellent intros. For me, before my PR career, which started 20 years ago, I was reared with my family having a pub business. So 4 siblings and my dad, my parents. So I know, the stresses of challenges of businesses. I know my father would have thought PR marketing, I don't have time for that. Fast forward to the future, and my sister is at the helm. She's bought the pub now, she's flying it. Also would have been very busy for it. And we did a plan for the pub back in the day, a good few years ago. She does it all now. I just said, just let me do something with social media. There was no budget. Let's do something clever. I'm her sister.
Were you working in PR at this stage, Vivienne?
Yes. So I have 20 years experience. So I go back. I've about 12 years PR agency experience, and I would have worked at the likes of United Airlines. I also worked in political PR. I worked with health insurance, not for profit. You name it, I was in it. But it's fundamental PR. It's the long game. It's getting your message out there to the right audiences, with great visuals, and we'll talk about that. So I suppose that's where my passion comes from, because with my sister, I could demonstrate that it's how you target your audience, what you want to do. She wanted to get bums on seats, and it's, finding out the calendar events that's happening, tap into that. A local pub near the Aviva, it's a really good opportunity.
Sorry, you could tell us the name of the pub.
Oh, sorry.
I feel that we need...
She was actually on Virgin Media the other day. Nothing to do with me, all her. But that just showed within 6 months there was an increase in turnover because people started coming in going, can I have that burger I saw on Instagram? Or we name-checked the food producers. She couldn't get over the fact that, so many shares and, I love that cheese. And that was the start of her realising the power of that, that and a business owner, that you don't have to spend. It's like boxing clever. So for me, in PR and working with either whether it's mentoring or working, I have food clients. I do work with Pizza Di Piero and Cashel Blue as well. They're two of my clients. But I also mentor with Blossom Heron. I've mentored, I think, over 30 finalists, and that's part of this programme. We mentor. And
that's a really important thing, and maybe not something that you'd be aware of because I wasn't aware of. This is, like, if you're a finalist in Blossom Heron, there's this option to have a mentor.
Yeah, there's 5 of us, and you will have met them over the course of the weekend. You'll meet them. That's Blossom Heron. Artie and Fallon's vision for this is to community of sharing. And we won recently that award that you see behind you for this mentorship program. So for me with PR, and it's bringing it back to for you here today, amazing. You're all down here in Dingle, and you're finalists or you're winners. You may be winners later. I know you're coming up later. We don't know yet. And there's an opportunity here just to talk about your news. That is news. So for me, it's all about, for a client, what's your news? What's your story? What's, the genuine story? You're all so passionate. One thing I know about hospitality businesses and food producers, it's a graw, it's a love.
You have to love it or you can't do it.
So for me, it's all about, just to keep it quick here, so fundamentally as food producers and when you want to promote your product, have a strategy, okay? So, and I work with my clients about that, the 7-step plan I do. Know what you're about, know what your competitors are doing, what it is you want to do. So where you've come from, where you are and where you're going. Look at what you're trying to achieve. Are you trying to launch something in the next couple of months? Are you bringing in a new flavour? Is there a new jobs announcement? Is there 10 more staff coming in? What's happening? Who do you need to talk to? Is it the food writers? Is it the business writers? Is it through social media? Are you trying to grab that younger generation?
You have to target it.
And know who they are. Know who likes your product. It's about solving, if you have a product that solves a problem for someone or they want what you have to let them know what you have for that person. So you have to kind of identify that audience for yourself so you can target them. And if there's one thing that the main thing about PR is having really good visuals. And I see Ali here and yourself, Karen, you'll know that when a producer contacts you, if they have really good visuals, and I don't just mean about your product, you the producer. So, invest if it's one time. I'm not saying to spend a lot of money. Have a headshot, really good headshot, but also in situ, maybe either in the factory if you work or in the fields, wherever that place is, but also lifestyle shots of your product. So not just the product shot that shows the spec on the product back. Lifestyle within, like being used, whether it's, with an accompaniment.
Or whether you're having a chocolate. And
having chocolate.
A nice drink.
I've often done that. So, yes. And also, for those who, when you do that with your professional photography, I've said this before, do try and get as much as you can out of it. So maybe do your Christmas ones, your Halloween and your Christmas together. I've just done a photo shoot for Christmas and Halloween recipes. We did it together. So we styled it Halloween, then Christmas, and then general ones for the new year. We're thinking already. So we did some of them. Summer, it's harder this time of year, so you probably do spring, summer ones separately. But yeah, think clever. Have them in the bank and just for over the year. And my big thing, and you guys will know this, is your calendar events. Plan that out at the end of this year now for next year, 2025. When is that bank holiday for the school term? When are the parents off, if that's your audience for young kids? What's that week? When will I start doing a campaign? And
what events that you need to show up for? And I think this is very important for you guys. And also, as somebody who goes to a lot of food events, Bon Chocolates and Bon Chocolatiers and Valentia Vermouth are two of the products that I often will come across. So how do you, Daniel and Georgia, how do you find that works in terms of being visible, but also trying not to be swamped by, because there's a lot of things you could say yes to?
Yeah, it's all about the balance, really, because I suppose when you're doing so much in the business and working on the business at the same time, and you're trying to get your face and your product out in front of as many people as you can, but you don't want to take on too much that you burn out, and you're able to balance everything. So I suppose there's, as you learn as you go on, which ones are kind of suitable for you to participate in. And usually we know that it's all about the brand awareness. So we've gone to some before. We go to as many food shows as we can. But I suppose like that, you just can't be at them all. So because there's only two of us as the business owners, and really it's really important to be there yourselves, you know.
And that is important. And I think it's part of PR that people don't necessarily think about is your physical presence at these events. So, because, you know, you can always pay people to do your stand, but they're never going to talk about it or be able to showcase it with the same passion unless you have somebody who's very invested in the company. And it's interesting here that we've two couples that are both working together. So Anna and Orla, do you find that like it's a real strength for you that you can work it together and you're able to fall in with each other that way, that in a way that you don't do with another business partner, perhaps?
Yeah, go on, you go.
It's part of your story. They're so well behaved. It's like going, no, you. But also, this is an important part of your business stories, and it's an important thing to do with when you're putting your PR, your media toolkit together. You need to have your story, and you need to have your story. And it's not a made-up story. Like, you know what I mean? These are legit stories, but you need to have it solid. And part of your legit story is, you know, that you went to an island and you developed this beautiful product that you're taking on the road. Yeah. So how does that work?
Well, I think one of the main things is that we make sure we safeguard our relationship as number one. So, like, because you can go to all the events and you can do everything, but you do just need to sort of make sure that you're not burning yourself out, because, you know, the number one thing is your marriage, isn't it? Or your relationship, and everything else has got to sort of fall in after. Which is really important.
Yeah. And like, so, and I think, so we had a business in the UK, and it was an events company. We did immersive theatre with fine dining events, but it wasn't like stuffy. It was on purpose. It was trying to like break down the walls of fine dining restaurants and also break down the walls of the theatre. So we'd put on events in multi-story car parks or like in a disused church or this kind of stuff, and people would get a like the postcode, because it was in the UK, so they'd get a postcode of like a lamppost to meet at the lamppost, and then they'd kind of be told that they need to like follow the black ribbon or something like that into where the event was. So it was brilliant. We absolutely loved it, but it was like so unviable as a business, and it was very, very, very hard. And we were like, you know, it's like as if we were trying to reinvent the wheel, and like the wheel is quite a successful thing. Like there is no need to reinvent that, you know. And like and it was really hard on like our relationship. It was really hard on our marriage, all this kind of stuff. And I'm not doing too much information, I promise. But like all I mean is that we
will
like,
turn off the mic if it comes to
but
that.
like all I mean is that we promised ourselves for this business that we would like that we'd make sure that our relationship was number one, and that the other thing was that we weren't going to reinvent the wheel. So we brought like a product. We were on a road well traveled. So we were on, you know, bringing a product to market, but then using our skills from like art and theatre and all that stuff to present it that way. So like we kind of said, okay, so we'll you know, how we do stuff is how we do stuff. So what you were talking about your kind of truth or your authentic story or whatever it is, like we all, like every single person in this room has has our own truths and our own stories, and they're really unique and they're really interesting. But like obviously we don't think they are, because we live in our own like mundane bodies and our own mundane world the whole time, but they are interesting. And then there is that whole other point about like that the personal, I think, is often universal. So like if you are showing your truth and your love, your story, what you see every day, anything like that, people I think get behind it because they can see something of you in them, or vice versa, kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, it is, and that is it's kind of the fortunate and unfortunate for both your businesses is that your relationship is part of the story. So stick together is what I want to say. You know, we're this marriage counselling here. You guys haven't even gone down that route. But it is if you make it part of the story, you have to be able to stand behind it, and that can. But that's another road. Daniel. Because blessed is he amongst women. We'll go from the marriage counselling now into in terms of the chocolates. Like, what makes your chocolates unique, and how can you get that out there? It's your story about your specific chocolates.
Yeah, I suppose obviously our story is the biggest part, and someone like Vivienne, kind of like what you said. When you're living that story, you don't think that it's interesting at all. You're like, they're not going to care about that, you know. They only care about the product, but really, it's not. It's everything behind it that the customer wants to hear about, because they want to feel good about investing in a small business rather than just in a big Mondelez or someone like a big company, you know. So I think like portraying your story, and then George and I have backgrounds as chefs, so as you mentioned before, kind of blending that culinary skill into the chocolate world, and I guess that's what sets us apart.
Yeah, and it's being able to showcase that's really important, and that's where you come in, Vivienne. You know, where you're giving people the easy steps to do that.
So I'm deeply passionate about this, because I know what that was like for both my father and my sister. You know, that you don't have the big budgets, and if you do, down the line, guys, when you get really big and you have that budget to have an agency, I love to go through that process of like, right, I'm going to guide you how you brief an agency so you get the best return on investment, you know. So, because I've been on both sides. I've had massive clients and small clients, but I really love working with smaller clients, because every single person I speak to has a really, there's a story. There's such a good story. And everyone I speak to individually, I tap into that. I have to feel it. I have to know, okay, I see where I can pitch this person. I see what radio station they're going to be good on. I can see where a feature. I'm looking at you, Sarah, down there, who's amazing. And you identify it, and you go, food producers are the dream, because you're so passionate, gorgeous, and it's everything. It's that drive. That's what people want to hear. People buy from people they like, you know.
And that's the people thing, and we definitely see that. I think actually what you were saying, Daniel, about investing is very important, because I know as a consumer that I look upon my purchases as investments in business, because I bought a present from, like, I was staying with my sister-in-law. I was like going, right, I'm going to get them some of your chocolates, because they're extra special. I could go off and get a box of roses, but it's not going to make the same impact. And it's similarly, I have to say, both of these products are exceptionally good gifting products, because nobody is going to turn you away at the door if you rock up with a bottle of vermouth or a box of chocolates. But it's putting yourself into that space. In terms of, like, so you've all, both your business have been established for a few years now. What do you think, like, if you looked back, what would be the one thing for yourself, Orla and Anna, like, what that would be that you wish you could go back and tell yourself about PR at that stage?
Gosh, I don't know. I'm not too sure, really. I think it was the only thing that I really remember doing. It was when we were researching loads of different alcohol companies and stuff like that. Is that we didn't really see who was behind a lot of the brands. So like we were having a look at all our sort of favourite ones that we were really interested in, and we just didn't know who it was behind it. And I think at that point, it was a big decision to put ourselves massively at the forefront. So, like, it's not something we didn't do, it's something we did do really consciously, sort of make sure that we were, because even our label has got, like, you know, the lighthouse at the top where we got married, there's the two mermaids with the secret A&O in the tail, and so for Anna and Orla, and, you know, it's got a whole story on there. So to sort of let that filter through into me and Orla being at the front of the brand.
And, you know, you get cocktails at the cottage, videos. If you haven't looked at the Valentia Vermouth Instagram, there's, just put them on and let them keep going, because they're really funny, and especially the ones that you do in a high gale.
Oh yeah, that was at the lighthouse.
That was a little step outside the cottage, which wasn't ideal, obviously. But it's putting yourselves front and center, and you guys have also done that, Daniel and Georgia, because, you know, you're the faces of the brand as well. But each of you have a beautiful product that photographs beautifully in that context. And what would you look back at and now and say, like, you know, in the last few years, what would you have played more focus on at the start in terms of PR?
Yeah, I think definitely not to be embarrassed, for want of a better word, not to be embarrassed to tell your story, that people are interested and they will want to listen. And obviously there was something else. About actually putting yourself out there. Because I would have always said to Georgia, and Georgia the same, like, oh, I don't want to do that. Like, I'm too embarrassed to do that, or that's very vain. But someone said to Georgia before, it's more vain to not put yourself out there, because you care more about what you think about yourself. It's even more vain to not do it, because people want to see that, and people want to see who's behind it and hear the story. But when we started that, we were like really shy to do that, or like too afraid to talk on Instagram, or like those sort of things. But I guess once you do it and people see, you get good response, because people are like, oh, okay, it's not just a machine that pumps out these chocolates. You actually make them by hand. And the amount of comments we've gotten in that in the last year and a half, like, oh, I didn't know you actually did that. I'm like, yeah, we actually do that, you know. But it doesn't seem interesting to us because we do it every day.
Yes.
And then I suppose one thing we only talked about recently was like thinking about what the customer wants to hear, in the sense that we, as I said, George and I are both chefs, so we would have a tendency to speak very chefy and using like a lot of chefy terms, and it's just lost amongst the customer. Like, they don't know what we're talking about, and you need to understand your customer and tell them the information, but not in that like super fancy way that only someone who has 3 Michelin stars is going to understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know, it needs to be understandable, and the content has to be digestible for them as well.
With the chocolates, I tell
are
very, very digestible. Last question to you, Vivienne. What would be your top tip for a consumer sitting here in the audience today? What would be the one thing that you'd want them to take away?
Oh, there's so many. Okay.
No, just one.
Okay. Okay. It's a long game. PR is a long game. Okay. So what I would love for everyone to do is, you know, you're here today. Okay, so think about 6 months, a year down the line. And I mentioned this yesterday. There might be someone here. You showed an example of collaborations with Graham.
Graham Heritage, yeah.
Yes.
Just recently done a collaboration. Might be someone here that you're going to do a collaboration down the line with, you know, get a photo with them, whatever. But just remember, go home. You've got all your images that you've got from here, or any other event that you go to now going down the line, or any calendar date that's coming up that's relevant to you. Be timely with that, right? So the long game, think, Christmas for me is almost done now. I've got my Christmas campaigns in situ. So think about 2025 and know what you want to do in that year, who you want to target, what are you going to do for Easter, what are you going to do for all those different things, and build your assets for that, your images, your content, just what you just said there. What are you saying for your audience? So if you have a product that's relatable for Christmas or Easter, whatever that is, get your recipes ready. Work with someone to do recipes with you, or maybe you're going to do it in-house and you can get a video. Everyone can do the videos now. Don't be worried. You know, train. So that would be my tip: is think long term.
Yeah, no,
And communicate. Know your audience and get your visuals. I got 3 in there. But.
Yeah, I know. I was like, she's gonna. And just from my perspective as a journalist, I would say there's lots of journalists around here this weekend. So, you know, we're all very approachable. It's like, come up and chat to us. We always love to hear about new products. Sometimes we might not have the space, or the like, our editors don't want the particular pitch, but it's never any harm talking to a journalist and just getting them to taste your product. Like, that's a real thing for me. Like, if I get to taste something and if it grabs me, I'll do my best to get it out there somehow. And I think that's really important. And this, like, that's what I love about Bloss, is that you have the opportunity to speak to everybody at every different level. Now, I know we're going way over time, so do we have a few minutes for questions, Ali? Yeah. So is there anybody out there who has any questions? This, yeah, it's always like we're running out of. No, nobody is. Everybody is getting tired at this stage of the day. Oh, Sarah.
Yeah, I actually think it's really, really, really important, the energy piece. So I'm a cheesemaker. I'm not an entrepreneur because I'm not any of you guys, but I grew up with someone starting out. So I was the child of entrepreneurs. So it actually extends beyond the relationship to the children. And so many food businesses across Europe, the good food businesses, are family businesses. So it's when you bring other people in, and never, ever to overwhelm. And it's really, we've always gone through the thing that it can't be about one person, because it's about the sum of the parts. So we're always trying, who's going to dance the dance today? Who's the right person to dance the dance today? Because you get tired, and you never know what's round the corner. So I am a great believer in sharing it.
I love that idea of who's going to dance the dance today, because you guys are all dancing with each other very closely, and it's sometimes you just need that opportunity to get away. And when, you know, there's like a lot of working in the business and working on the business, but when you're in a couple and in a business together, you know, you just have to make sure you get that time. And obviously, all your romantic dates are going to be spent down in Dingle, winning awards and getting all the good stuff. So that's brilliant. Is there anybody else who's got any questions? Well, you know what, guys? It's been a long day. There's a long night ahead of us yet, and there's more awards to come. So thank you all so much for being an amazing audience. I have to say a big thanks to Max and Stephen for looking after the audio visuals for the afternoon. I have to say, I have to say thanks to Vivienne for keeping me in line. I have to say as well thanks to Artie and Fallon and all their team for keeping the show on the road, because this is a big show, as you guys are aware, and it's grown exponentially over the years. So it's always fabulous to be here, but if we're here, make the most of it. So go out there and find your next collaborator. Go out there and meet people that you'll be able to engage with in the future. Like, I know I've met a lot of people here who just take your Instagram handle or your business card or something like that, and you might hear from them in 6 months' time. So definitely take advantage of that and enjoy the rest of the weekend. And congratulations to all the winners. And you know what? If you've been shortlisted, you're still a winner, because you got to be here. You got a seat at the table. Make the most of it and have an amazing weekend. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Well done. And thank you to my great panel. So thank you.